Alright, this is the first part where I'm trying to make a box inset for Mistfall, for the Mistfall game, just because I was constantly pulling stuff out and getting to things, so I want to make things a little bit easier. And now I've made the, I'm just now making the bottom box. As a matter of fact, let me pull, I'm gluing it as you can see, and let me pull this off and show basically how it will go in. So this is what I have. This is some leftover foam core from the kids' projects that I'm now confiscating. And so this will sit in, as you can see. The idea is that this would go to the very bottom. Since it's not all the way dry, I'm not going to put it in yet. And you can see where it's not up to the full height. The idea is I'm going to make two of these trays. I'm just now kind of figuring out how I'm going to do this. What I'm thinking is that on the bottom tray, I'm going to put most of the character stuff. So for example, all of these will go into this bottom tray. And then I think what I'm going to wind up doing is that I think I can fit in 8 slots for cards. 2 up and, oops. I don't know. I don't think I can, because this is pretty tight, as you can see. There's not much room in here in between. So I'm not sure that I can fit them in and get 8. Otherwise it's going to be kind of tight. But the idea is I'm going to put all the character stuff in the bottom tray. And then I'm going to build a top tray that will have, I want to build a tray that I can easily pull out that'll have all the chits that I'll wind up using throughout the game. I want that to be a smaller separate tray that I can just pull out from the rest of the cards. And I'll build up a second layer. It'll probably be, the second layer will probably not just have one tray like that, but actually have like probably two, maybe 3. But we'll see. So this is where I am now. I'm letting this dry, and we'll check back later. The only other thing I will say is I want to give an idea. I wound up making this, I'm not real proficient in it, but it was a little bit more exact than using inches and that sort of thing, even though I'm used to the standard measuring. So I made this 28 centimeters and 5 millimeters square. It was not quite that, but I trimmed it down, and once I trimmed it down, that's what it wound up being. And once I have 2 of these bottoms in here, I have basically 500, is that right? No, it's not that many. I have 55 millimeters of height. So a little bit more than that, actually. It was about 56, I believe. So I wound up making each of these 27 millimeters high. So that's how high this is so far. And the other one, the other part of the box, it will also be the 27 millimeter high top as well. And that should be enough even for the big decks to fit in, right? Even for a thicker deck like that, it should fit in. The only thing that's a little bit of a gotcha, but I'm going to wind up spreading, are these tiles. Rather than try to do them all in one, I'm going to spread them into 2 different stacks, is the way I think I'll wind up doing that. But anyway, that's just the rough measurements on that so far. Okay, I finished with the bottom. I made the dividers. As you can see, I wasn't able to get the 6 slots in. So what I did to get around that was that I put 2 characters into a slot. And as you can see, come around here, I've got it so that their names are written down, right? I'm trying to get so the shadow is on, so you can see their names are written there on the bottom. And I just put a little filler here so that I can easily lift up, separate, and I've got those 2 here. So it wasn't ideal, but it works. This is the first time I've ever built one of these insets for a game, so I'm not quite sure what I'm doing, but I think this will work pretty well. So I'm going to be working on the second layer now. Alright, I finished this. This was my first time to build an inset like this. it's not as clean as I would like it to be. Plus the foam core that I was using wasn't that great. It kind of, and I think even the X-Acto knife I was using wasn't as sharp as it should have been, and I didn't have extra blades. But anyway, that's what it looks like. This will give you, I think maybe this will be useful for folks who want to do their own. And I'll point out a couple of things that I think worked and that didn't work. First of all, here's the inset for all the tokens. As you can see, I really wanted to get the burning, weakness, and poison into their separate bins, but I was not able to do that. I just, not to be able to easily reach in here with my big meaty paws and be able to get this very easily. But it works well enough. It serves its purpose. This little compartment here does double duty, right? I've got the quest tokens here and I've got the party token in there. So this can easily come out and sit beside the game board and make it relatively easy to get to everything. As you can see, the rest of it sits here like this, and this piece will come out the top part, and this has, the way I put it was to put the tiles up here, of course, and this deck actually is a mix. It's the game aids as well as the the quest information, the setup information, the timing cards, the encounter cards, and everything. I just put these all in one deck. I didn't try to separate these out. I would have had a tough time, I think, doing this if I had. And these, like I said, these are the items. I got all the different items, the rewards, the basic, the transient. These are all in one deck, but they're segregated. And then I've got the different challenges. The one thing I'll say about this particular design, the way I did it here, is this is, with these particular tiles and these cards, it is tight. That's where I will probably be tempted to redo this and get it so that there's a little, they move, right? It's not pinching the cards by any means. They move pretty freely, but I'd like to have just a little bit more room in there. But I'll have to kind of rethink how I'm doing this top shelf if I'm going to do that. The bottom shelf, as you can see, this is where all the characters are. This is pretty much what I had shown earlier. These are pretty accessible, and then we would just return this to the top. Fits in, comes in here like this. Whoops. One way goes better than another. The box, there we go. I just had to pull it over just a little bit. That fit in there. Yeah. Then I take the different game documents, put those in there, and trying to do this one-handed. That goes on like that. I store my boxes flat. I don't stand them on the sides. I have friends who do. I don't. I just don't have the shelving where I can do that. So this works pretty easily. Like I said, the main reason I did this was that I wanted to. I just felt that if I wanted to get to any one thing, I was having to pull every single thing out. And even though I had labeled the baggies, it wasn't very visible, and I couldn't keep it in the same order. This way I keep everything in the same order, and I'm able to pull it out pretty easily. One other thing I'd like to point out, my original plan actually wasn't to lay the cards flat like this. I actually was thinking of, like in Thunderstone, where the cards are on their edges, and I would just slot them in, and I would have tabs there. Unfortunately, that doesn't work real well, and one of the main reasons it didn't is that the let me go back over here and show you. The main reason were these, as you can see, they're just a tad higher than the box, and I couldn't stand these on edge. And the cards, they're down below. if I were to do it over again, I would be, well, the one reason I didn't do this, even though these cards fit like this, I wasn't sure if I'd be able to get this little token box like I have here. But in hindsight, I wish I'd thought it through a little bit more and maybe tried to put the cards all on their sides and tried it that way. These tiles would have had the same problem, right? And that was actually a problem as well. They're even taller than these, so they couldn't have stood on the edge. They would have had to lie flat there. So that wasn't going to work. But anyway, you can see what I've done. I'm sure people can come up with some really good improvements on this, but at least you can see how I approached it. This was my first time doing it, so this did take me, I was doing chores and cooking dinner and some other things, but you know, it took me a few hours to do this.